Let the galaxy burn.
Hello guys, SkyPoint here, and this morning we're going to be taking our first full look at the Ultramarine cards. Now there have been a lot of previews of the cards out there already, but the cards have just hit the collection. I have not had a chance to go through any of them yet, so you're going to be seeing my first thoughts and reactions to the Ultramarines. So let's go! Alright, so we're going to start as always with their Primarchs, with their Warlords and their Primarch of course, and then start going through their cards from cheapest to most expensive. So let's start with the Warlord who we have seen before in the previews, Aeonid Thiel. So looking at him, he's got this thing where his theoreticals, so those are a particular subtype of tactic, are cheaper. His energy ability is dealing 1 point of damage like Tariq Tormageddon does. Tariq Tormageddon though, if he kills a target you draw a card. With Aeonid Thiel, if he does not kill a target, then you create a card in your hand. I kind of like that more than Tariq's ability because it doesn't run down the cards in your deck. Of course, it means you can't use Aeonid Thiel to hunt through your deck for the card which you need. So there is that trade-off. Let's quickly check out his chat lines, see what they're like.
Let's get started.
Okay.
I'll let my bolter speak for me. This is unconventional. What wins the fight is what wins the fight.
Okay, that's kind of obvious.
I see nothing practical in your actions.
I like that one.
Pride undoes the mightiest.
And that'll be great for a surprise move. Okay, so that's Aeonid Thiel, the basic warlord who's going to be the easiest to get. He'll be the first to appear in the shop as well, so you pretty much expect almost everyone to have him, I think, today or tomorrow. Probably today. Okay, next up, Marius Gage. Let's take a look at him. Oh, this is fantastic. I love this ability. It's buff a troop, and if you don't have a troop to buff, you draw a card. The Ultramarines seem to be a lot about card draw. We saw lots of things in the previews which drew cards for them. I honestly think this means the Ultramarines might be a bit, well, you can either build them to have lots of powerful units and really leverage their courage ability, or because they've got so much card draw, you can probably try to build the Ultramarines as a swarming faction, right? Lots of cheap cards, which would normally be a problem because you'll run out of cards quickly. But with Marius Gage, you can be drawing 2 cards a turn, right? 1 card, which is your normal draw, and then 1 card by using his ability. Kind of interesting. Let's look at his chat lines.
My compliments to you. Put them all to the flame and sword!
Oh, that'll be great for a board clear.
You have counterstruck effectively. This is not a dream.
That's weird.
For your own good, hurry!
Oh yeah, I'll be using that when people drag on their turn.
I've shown you how it's done.
Interesting. Alright, that's Marius Gage. What we're all waiting for, though, is Big Bobby G, Raboot Guilliman himself. Let's look at his normal ability here. Okay, so it's sort of like some of his warlords. So you can see he's 2 attack, 40 health, 2 energy to deal 2 damage to an enemy, but if there's no enemy you can actually attack, you get to create a practical tactic in your hand. That's kind of cool, but let's take a look at his... Oh, he's also medium initiative. I forgot to check that. What were the initiative on these guys? He's high, he's medium, and Raboot Guilliman is medium as well. Okay, that's not bad. So let's check out his chat lines first, then look at his reckoning.
Good to see you, League.
Okay, that's a bit friendly.
Never wish for danger. Danger needs no help.
I just clicked on ceasefire and I got this one down there. Huh.
It was a calculated risk. Ceasefire!
Okay, it looks like the order is messed up.
Information is victory. What does not kill me is not trying hard enough.
It's not terrible. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at his reckoning. Let's scroll down to the bottom. Alright, Bobby G. Becomes enraged. Okay, -1 cost when a friendly troop dies during the enemy turn. Okay, so that's sort of a bit of a variant on Ferrus Manus. Ferrus Manus, his ability was -1 cost whenever a friendly troop dies. Guilliman goes down whenever a friendly troop dies, but in the enemy turn. On the other hand, the reckoning cost is a little bit cheaper. I think it means it's going to be slightly harder to trigger his Reckoning than Ferrus Manus's Reckoning. Alright, let's see what he turns into. The Avenging Sun. 3 attack, 40 health. Oh. Oh, it's like Malkador's Hammer, except a 2 energy ability and not a 5 energy one. That is a little bit random, to be honest. You don't know what you're going to get for 2 energy. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't think it's that great a Primarch ability. Of course, if you pull out an expensive card, it's amazing. Honestly, you probably want to be viewing this as 2 energy to draw a card, just like Horus's base ability is, rather than trying to use it to deal damage. The damage should probably be viewed as a bonus. Let's check out his chat lines.
In the name of terror, hail. It is past time that the heretics paid a blood price. So many variables.
That sounds like a statistician.
The true general knows when blood is worth spending. Everything is an enemy. I will hurl your toxic corpse into hell's mouth.
Oh, you want to use that one when you face Mortarion. Okay, well, we've taken a look at their warlords. Let's go ahead now and run through their units. And tactics, I guess. So Manius Recon. So this is a 1 energy troop who creates a random practical tactic. Okay, we'll be seeing what some of those practicals are in a moment. You know what, actually, for this review, let's just go ahead and take a look at theoreticals and practicals first. So let's go ahead and go with theoreticals. Theoretical. Alright, let's take a look. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 theoreticals. What do they have? Chain of Command. So we've seen this in the preview. It's actually a neat one. It's one of those cards with 2 effects. You either give your warlord front line to protect your troops, or you can bring a friendly troop back to your hand, which is actually extra good for the Ultramarines because of the courage abilities. Oh, that's an interesting combo. If you're not outnumbered by the enemy, but you have got the same number of troops as the enemy, you can use Chain of Command to bring one of your troops back into your hand, and then play it again, which would trigger its courage ability, or play another unit which has courage. Interesting. Okay, we also saw Defensible Position, which is, again, a dual-use one where you can either stun an enemy or give front line and extra health to a friendly troop. So it's either like a little bit offensive stun, like an offensive defense, like stunning an enemy, or giving, making a unit extra tough. We've got Suppression Fire, deal 2 damage to an enemy, or give +2 attack to a friendly troop. This is a bit of a weird one. It kind of feels like the net result is the same. I guess it's a one-off 2 damage to an enemy, or if you've got a high health troop which is likely to last multiple turns, you can give that troop extra attack and try to take advantage of that. I mean, maybe they go together. You use Suppression Fire to buff a troop, and Chain of Command to make sure that troop doesn't get attacked directly. Then you've got Interlocking Tactics. Draw a card for each friendly unit. And so yeah, not much to say about that one over there, I guess. So it's not only a single effect, it's one of those many card draws I talked about the Ultramarines having. And Logos Lectora. This is another card draw, yet another one. So give +1 to your troops. If you have no troops, you draw a Space Marine, but you discount it. So basically it ends up being a draw card for 1 energy in that regard, I guess, because you're discounting the next troop by 2, which effectively means you spend 2 energy less per turn. Okay, so those were the theoreticals, and those are what Aeonid Theo will be generating like crazy. And then you get the practicals, which is, I believe, what I had said Rabut Gulliman creates, right? Let's confirm that over here. Yep, he creates practicals. So let's check out what all those practicals are. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 practical cards. So we've got Opening Salvo, which is 2 damage to all undamaged enemies. That's actually neat. Like, a lot of the times, this will wreck everything that a Ornithop's Barge will drop, or at least most stuff that an Ornithop's Barge will drop. And, unlike something like Defense Satellites, this will not damage the enemy Warlord, assuming the Warlord's taken some damage by then, meaning Opening Salvo will not trigger the Ogrins which Ornithop's Barge can create to increase their attack. That's powerful. Retribution Strike. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. If it dies, draw a card. Always useful. 2 damage is often enough to kill many things, and of course, drawing cards has its own, well, drawing cards, right? Well, who can argue with drawing cards? Adaptable tactics. This was cool. This is a powerful heal, or it can turn into a sneak attack, which is kind of like a heal, right? Because it's like healing a guy after he attacks. Well, it would have the same net effect, assuming a unit survives. Of course, sneak attack is better because you never take the damage in the first place. This is really cool. Yeah, I like adaptable tactics. We actually saw this one in the previews. And lastly, no fear. Give Survivor 1 to a friendly Astartes, and if you're outnumbered, it buffs them. Oh, that's awesome. It's very thematically correct, right? So you guys become stronger, and they will survive a near suicidal attempt to do a fight. I like that. Okay, so that was the theoretical and the practical, and now we can go back to our units. So we just saw Manius Recon who actually create one of those practicals for 1 energy every turn. Baranus Squad. So these guys are the first courage unit we're seeing in this morning's review. I think these were seen before as well. It's very similar to one of the Emperor's Children cards, which is 2/2, except with perfection it gains +1/1. So these guys are with courage, they gain +1/1. So neat, cannot argue with that. I love that Emperor's Children troop, and I will love Baranus Squad too. Chain of Command we just saw, defensible position we just saw, Helixus Squad. So this is sort of like the almost inverse of Baranus Squad. They don't buff themselves, they buff another friendly troop, but they have it on Rally, not Courage, so they will always trigger this. Or you can use it to kill, to do 1 point of damage to an enemy, and that's any enemy, including the warlords. So this looks like a super useful ability as well. I just wonder if they can give +1/1 to themselves as well, or if it's only to a different friendly troop. The card text isn't clear here. Opening salvo, we saw Relentless Pursuit. I think we saw this one. No, this is not a theoretical, this is a tactic. So this is just saying you give a friendly troop backlash return to your hand. Again, this is great, especially for a unit with courage, because you can use it to attack an enemy, and even if it doesn't kill that enemy with its own attack, it'll pop back into your hand, and you can hopefully use its courage ability to then arrange for that enemy to die. So this is cool. I love this tactic too. Retribution Strike we saw, Suppression Fire we saw, Halcyon Scouts. Okay, there's another card draw. Man, I'm losing track of how many card draws the Ultramarines have. I think this is just not that great. It is a common card, so it's not supposed to be totally excellent. I think this is one you'll see more likely in events than in constructed decks, because that effect is a little underwhelming. Bellaria Squad we saw in my own preview video. So, very useful ability, 2 damage to a random enemy. It just needs a little bit of thinking before you play them, because what you don't want is that 2 damage to go on the wrong enemy troop, so just watch out. Censured Squad. Battle Honor, create a random practical in your hand. I'm not so huge on these guys because of their ability, because Battle Honor only triggers if you attack and kill an enemy and you do not die yourself. And with only 4 health, there's a lot of times they will die when they're attacking, because they'll probably take some damage when you deploy them, and then when they attack they'll get finished off. But these guys are totally worth it because of their stats. 3 energy for a 3 attack and 4 health unit. That is great. So I like them for their stats. Their ability is a bonus if you ever manage to trigger it and keep them alive. Interlocking Tactics, no fear. We saw Logos Electros. We saw Scipio Bikes. This is a cool one. This actually came out in Iron Duke's reveals very late yesterday. It's effectively it's a card draw, right? If you're outnumbered, you put them on the board and you get another copy of them. So, and you can probably change this a few times in a turn, so it's a pretty decent-ish card. It's a card draw for a very average unit. 3 attack for 3 energy and 3 health with that is super average. It's useful if you're running low on cards. I just feel that there's so many card draws the Ultramarines have that running out of cards isn't an issue. You might really only want this guy if you're trying to do some vehicle funniness, like have a lot of cards which buff vehicles for whatever reason. I'm gonna pass on them. Tech Marine Arius. Okay, so this is why you've got vehicles, I guess. 1 energy. So he's again he comes in at 3 energy. His attack is a little bit low. His health is nice. His energy abilities are very cool. 1 energy to deal 4 damage to an enemy vehicle or give +1 attack, +1 defense to a friendly vehicle. So 4 damage will kill a lot of early game vehicles or finish off a damaged late game vehicle, which is cool. And obviously buffing your own vehicles can be very helpful. With only 2 attack, he's probably a little bit wasted actually being used offensively during your turns. If he's on the board, he's probably there to buff your own vehicles or kill the enemies. Captain Alcaeus. Now we saw this guy in my own reveal video. He's totally worth it for his stats alone, right? 4 energy for 4 attack and a whopping 5 health. Yes, please. And his energy ability is just the icing on top. More card draws. So in this case, not even card draw, it's card creation, which is actually arguably better because it doesn't leave you in a danger of running out of cards. And yeah, he creates 3 cards in your hand for just 2 energy, which is incredibly economical. So I like that. Kossos Squad. We saw these guys before as well. This is sort of very much like one of the Imperial Army troops. They add a copy of it to your hand if the enemy has 2 or more troops in play. These guys will add a copy to your hand if the enemy just outnumbers you. Their stats totally average. With so much card creation and card draw in the Ultramarine deck, I think there's probably better things to do with 4 energy than Kossos Squad. You'll see them in the event for sure, but in constructed play, I think they'll be rare. Ingenious Command Squad. Okay, let's look at these guys. It's totally average stats, but yeah, look at this now. Their energy ability. Either do 2 damage to an enemy, and that's to any enemy, so it could be a warlord or a unit, or heal 2 to a friendly unit. So that's super flexible. And this is what I mean. For 4 energy, I'd much rather have these guys than the previous Kossos Squad. Trajan Squad. 4 energy, unstoppable. They have flank if you have courage, which is a redeeming factor. I was about to say that, well, these guys, they are, with only 3 health, I would normally not include them. But with a massive 5 attack, these would be very useful for playing when you're outnumbered and the enemy has a strong, tough unit. You can bring these guys in and attack that strong unit immediately. They're going to die, so their low health won't matter. I think these are there to bail you out, and it's a good idea to include them. Apothecary Theon, okay. This guy is basically like a servo arm on the board and not as a tactic. So it costs the same as the Iron Hand servo arm. On the other hand, he will die eventually, or maybe even very quickly. He only has 3 attack, but he heals at the end of your turn, so you're guaranteed to get 2 points of healing out of him, and then the enemy will be trying to kill him as well. And if the enemy fails to kill him, you're guaranteed another 2 points of healing. Okay. I can sort of see where this guy was alright. Maybe you want to combo him with Escape Vent, so you put him on the board and make him invisible for some protection. Yeah, that could work. There are probably a bunch of Ultramarine cards here which could also benefit from Escape Vent, so I think this is going to be a decent card to put in. Honor Guard, 5 energy. Frontline, this is your first defensive unit, and if you're outnumbered, they gain +1/1, so they become 5 energy for a 5 attack, 6 health unit. Okay, that's cool. The one danger is if you're not outnumbered, they're below average. I mean, they're a very average frontline unit. It's low attack, okay health for 5 energy. It's a very conditional defensive unit. I don't know how I feel about them. They're a bit meh. I hope the Ultramarines have better frontline options later down the line. On the other hand, Being outnumbered is a real possibility, especially if you go second, so maybe it's worth it. Ooh, a legendary we have not seen before, the Mantle of Ultramar. What can that be? So it's a tactic. Give your warlord... Holy moly! Wow, it's like Lucretia, but affecting 2 of your troops every turn, and it's free. You don't spend any energy. That is worth it. It is expensive, but if you can pull it off, it's going to be a big help to you. It is relentless. Your troops have to survive till the beginning of your turn to benefit. But I can see this being the point which tips a lot of games, and of course, it happens every turn. So if the extra health the troop has helps it to survive, it's going to get extra. It's going to keep cycling on top. It's neat. Alright, I like that. Plus, obviously, if you got other cards we saw which will actually buff your troops as well, so that can stack together. Miatis Cruiser. Okay, so this is interesting. It's a direct damage card, the first of the big direct damages we're seeing for the Ultramarines. Deal 5 damage, and if it's a troop, you get to jam it. Can't argue with that. It's also very important because now the word bearers are getting so many troops out there with Survivor, so this will get rid of Survivor. It'll also get rid of all that funky demon hosting on them as well, unless they have demonic eyes to protect them from the Miatis Strike Cruiser, which is interesting. Petronius Support. Whoa, look at these guys. Area of Effect. 4 energies, that's an expensive energy ability, but you're doing a total of 8 damage for that, right? 4 to the main target, and then 2 points of splash damage on each side. I like that. These guys are common, but this type of ability is really useful. And even if you don't use their energy ability, their stats are only slightly below average, so it's still worth it. I like it. Okay, we're coming up towards the end now. Stillis Veterans. Okay, these are sort of a little bit of a straight up upgrade over some of those guys we saw before. They've got Battle Honor, but now they've got 6 health, so they're much more likely to survive and trigger it. Very underwhelming attack for 5 energy, only 4 attack, but creating cards could help. Yeah, maybe, and some of those practicals will then stack and help. So yeah, I think it's not bad. I don't like random effects, so maybe I wouldn't necessarily put them in my constructed deck, but I guess. Ooh, another legendary. Let's check this guy out. Captain Corvo. What's he up to? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Look at that. You don't get to choose from one of 2 effects. You get to choose from one of 3 effects with this guy. He just can't decide what he wants to do. So, let's look at his stat line first. Below average. 6 energy, but you're only getting 5 health or 5 attack and 5 health out of him, which sucks. But his rally ability kind of compensates. It's 3 points of damage to an enemy, which is pretty big. Or you heal your warlord for a giant 4. Or you can give +2 attack and +2 health to a friendly troop. His stats are poor, but because of how flexible his ability is, you can play him for an advantage in many different situations. So I'm going to give him a thumbs up. Kletos Kabad. Create a random theoretical in your hand. Okay, that's fine. These guys are totally average. Okay stats for 6 energy. Below average ability this late in the game, creating a random theoretical. You'll see them in the event, I think not so much in Constructed. Whirlwind Scorpius. So actually the what's it called? The Alpha Legion have a Scorpius as well, and I think this one is better than theirs. Let's take a look. This is 6 energy, 5 attack, which is below average, 6 health, which is average, and 2 energy to deal 3 damage to 3 random enemies. I just want to check out the Alpha Legion version as well quickly. So the Alpha Legion one was somewhere down here. It was a 7 energy. Okay, it was a much lower cost and a higher stat. So the Alpha Legion one cost 7 energy, 7 attack, 7 health. 1 energy you spend to attack 3 random enemies, doing 2 damage to them each. The Ultramarine version of that is cheaper, poorer stats, more expensive ability, does more damage. Interesting variation. I didn't use the Ultramarine version much, except when I started an alt account and I was like on Istvan and Prospero. I don't think Whirlwind Scorpius is good enough. I don't know, maybe. Ooh, Ancient Kratos. This is a Dreadnought. Common Dreadnought, totally average, front line, low health. He's going to die very easily. Do not like him. Let's pass. Captain Mysander. This is another epic. Ooh, look at that. It's like the Night Lords meet the Ultramarines. You put him in play, all enemies, if you're outnumbered, all your enemies get -2 attack until your next turn, which is going to hopefully help him to survive until the next turn, where he can then do some damage. Neat. I like this. And he's an epic, so you can have 2 of him. Alright, and next up we've got Macragge's Honor. So this is their version of Pride of the Emperor. Unlike the Emperor's Children Pride of the Emperor, you're never going to be playing this more than once in the game. It doesn't go back into your deck waiting to come out, but it's also flexible. You can either use it as a finisher or use it to arguably protect yourself against a finisher by healing yourself up. So it's neat. I usually find it rare when I play Pride of the Emperor more than once in one game, although I hate it when that happens against me. So I actually think Macragge's Honor is better. You get to choose how you want to use it, so yeah. Most of the time, honestly, people are going to use it for the damage side, I'm sure. Alrighty. Wrath and Betrayal. This was from my reveal video. This is actually a great tactic because the Ultramarines have so many courage abilities which will trigger when you're outnumbered, but what about when you outnumber the enemy? This is something which helps. This is a tactic. It's very expensive, but it helps you to convert your number advantage into a big positional advantage by allowing your units to do massive damage. So I like this. Invictus Terminator. So we saw this come out yesterday as well. It's an expensive card. I think later, in the higher decks, you're probably not going to see this much, but this guy is going to be very powerful in events as well as in lower rankings on the ladder, where you'll use this to help clean up the board right before you finish the game. So it's not terrible. I just feel that for high ladder, there's probably better cards at 8 energy. We're going to see some coming up in a moment. Alright, Lords of Ultramar. This is a tactic. Yeah, look at this one. Late in the game, you're likely to be running low on cards, and this will fix that, and it'll discount those cards you get as well. I think this is really useful. Alright, and then the last legendary we look at is going to be Stellok Aethon. So check this guy out. He has a destroy random enemy troop of any kind. So if all your guys are dead, the enemy has a massive, powerful, tough unit with ward and all that on. You bring Stellok Aethon into play and he'll just kill it. I like it. Yep, I think this is a good legendary. And even if you don't trigger his courage, I mean, 8 energy, 8 attack, 8 health, it's still worth it. So yeah, just keep him. Alright, final couple of cards. We've got another, I think this is a Dreadnought. Yep, it's a Dreadnought. Whoa, 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 look at this guy. If you're outnumbered, deal 6 damage to a random enemy. That will kill many random enemies. On top of that, once he's in play, you can spend 2 energy to deal 8 damage to anyone of your choice. That is basically like a Macragge's Honor every turn. An upgraded Macragge's Honor every turn in terms of damage for only 2 energy. So that this guy will be prime target. If you leave this guy alive, you are going to die if you're facing Ultramarines. He's got 10 health, so he can take a brutal pounding, and 7 attack, so whoever's attacking him is going to get hit hard in turn. I like it. This guy is basically a finishing move for the Ultramarine, so this is cool. Alright, and the very last one is a common. It's an Ardentian tank. Let's take a look at this. So it's a frontline unit, which is alright for 10 energy. Oh, that's not bad, actually. Its ability. Usually, I don't like the common 10 energy frontline unit. I mean, this guy, his attack sucks, right? Only 6 attack. He's got very good health for a frontline unit. And his ability, his energy ability, is really neat. Create 2 Ultramarines and give them flank, but it's a free ability, right? And with such low attack, you're probably not going to be planning on attacking with this guy anyway. But you can create 2 Marines and probably put them into play in the same turn to try and win back board control. I could see this getting used. I like it. Especially if you go with a vehicle heavy deck, you might be baiting out a bunch of the enemy's vehicle removal cards early, and by the time Ardentian Tank hits the board, there's not much left. So in fact, let's just take a look at that. What were the different vehicles the Ultramarines did get? So they have Scipio bikes, which are alright, I guess. Whirlwind Scorpion, which is alrightish. Then you've got Ancient Credo, which sucks. This Dreadnought, which is amazing. And then this, which is pretty good as well. And your Tech Marine to buff stuff. And of course, access to all the neutral vehicles. I think you could make an interesting vehicle deck. Although then you're passing on a lot of courage abilities. Maybe blend some together. Alright, anyhow. So, let's go back. And that was a complete look at the Ultramarines deck of cards. So the event is going to be starting soon, and we're going to be able to check out what they're like in action. So I will see you guys in the event, and bye for now.